Hey, I hope you are having a good day. Today, I get to talk about one of the most exciting topics that I think in nutrition, which is amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. I know I talk about these a lot, but today I'm talking about specifically essential amino acids. Those are different than branch chains, which you've heard me talk about before. I'm going to go into a lot of the science behind them, what they do in our bodies to make you a smarter consumer, and then also just about how they work. So I hope you find it interesting. If you don't put it into practice and you just want me to do all the work for you to tell you what to eat, I'm cool with that as well, but I like to share the science. So first off, let me just go into what essential amino acids are, what amino acids are. They're the building blocks of protein, like I was saying. So just as glucose is the building block of a carb, just as a triglyceride is the building block of a fat, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So if you eat, let's say, a steak, the main protein in steak is called actin. And in one strand of actin or one strand of muscle fibers for steak, there's about 56,000 amino acids. That's a huge amino acid for your body to break down and for your stomach to try to break down. So you need a lot of acid present to break down protein. That is why if you are trying to digest protein, it's pretty common to supplement with some sort of a stomach enzyme or a digestion enzyme as well. Here, let me get back on track. So with that protein absorption, so now we have this huge chain of amino acids in our stomach. What do we do with it? We use it or we absorb it. But let me get into the difference between amino acid absorption and amino acid utilization. So things like whey protein and soy protein, the protein in chicken, the protein in any sort of the muscle fibers that we eat from animals like steak or fish, the main muscle fiber, like I said, is going to be actin. So how do we absorb that? Well, our body does a pretty good job of absorbing it, but there's a huge difference in how our body utilizes it. And a study that researchers use is called a nitrogen utilization study. And what they do is they found that nitrogen needs to be present to turn amino acids that we take in from just something that sits in our stomach and passes through our body to something that actually goes to our muscles, our lean tissues, our organs, our skin, and gets utilized to rebuild things. Essential amino acids in their purest form in a supplement, if they are organized in the right way with the right ratios, they can be absorbed and utilized within the body 99% of the time. That means 99% of the protein you put into your body actually gets utilized. Now here, let me flip gears a little bit. Something like soy protein, yes, it gets absorbed into the body at about a 75% rate. That's it's called its bioavailability. However, its utilization rate, based on its nitrogen study, goes down to about 16%. So let's say you take 100 grams of soy protein, you actually utilized 16 grams of that. Now, I'm not trying to knock soy protein. I'm just pointing out that there's a big difference between absorption and utilization. So that's your first take-home point today, is the absorption and utilization rate of our essential amino acids based on its nitrogen profiles are astronomical. They are amazing. It's the purest form of protein that your body can absorb because it's organized in a way better than branch chain amino acids, better than most of the foods we eat, if I'm being honest. I'm not telling you to go to the store, buy essential amino acids, and eat that for all of your protein, because there's other benefits that the eggs that you eat, or the steak or the chicken that you eat, or the fish can add to your body. Steak has great iron content, great vitamin A content. Something called like xanthozione is another really good hormone booster that steak has in it. So don't discount what I'm saying on that, but take essential amino acids and see that they're utilized very well within the body. Something else away from kind of the muscle building standpoint of amino acids goes into our gut lining, and the acid within the stomach. So you need a lot of acid, as I was saying earlier, to break down protein because it's such a dense molecule, and they're stringed together and bound very, very forcefully. So we need a lot of acid. So your body produces chymotrypsin and chymogrin to absorb these amino acids, and it just makes your stomach very acidic. That can do not great things for your gut lining. So that's why it's common to supplement with some sort of digestive enzyme or probiotic if you're also taking a pretty high protein diet. And a lot of deterioration in the gut lining is what leads to chronic illness and autoimmune disease. So essential amino acids have been tested in a lot of our special populations as far as people with MS, people with Graves' disease, people with IBS, things like that are a little bit more internal. And essential amino acids perform very well in all of those people because it repairs the gut tissue, not only in the stomach, but then also in the linings of the small intestine, the large intestine, and the colon. That also drastically reduces our sickness. And this is something that a lot of triathletes and marathon runners will use, because anytime you do that sort of beating on the body with elevated cortisol levels and things like that, you do run into, how many times have you heard people who run a marathon and they get sick for the next week? A lot of that has to do with because the gut lining and the gut blood barrier were breached, similar to a stomach ulcer, but just way less severe. It's more just in the mucous membrane that takes place at that molecular level. And amino acids help to kind of prevent that and to help our stomach rebuild and stay anabolic. I guess that's a weird way to think of your stomach being anabolic, but that's more or less what it does. The last difference I want to point out between essential amino acids and branched chain amino acids is the production of insulin. So leucine, when it's in a branched chain amino acid complex, does increase insulin, which if you're in an exercise setting or you're in a post-exercise setting, it's not a bad thing to increase insulin levels, because it helps to take care of blood glucose, and you're really not gonna notice it because you're active. Now, essential amino acids, something that I find really interesting is the leucine in an essential amino acid does not cause the same insulin spike. In fact, EAAs, or essential amino acids, do not increase insulin levels at all. That is why they're one of my tips if you're going to be doing a fasted workout or a fasted diet regimen, that you use essential amino acids, because one of the pros of fasting is to increase your insulin sensitivity, meaning that when your body produces insulin, you actually use it and it decreases our blood glucose like it should, as opposed to a problem with a lot of Americans being diabetes and insulin resistance. So something like collagen, this is another interesting point that I found in a lot of the research I did, was collagen has an absorption rate within the body of about 92%. When you look at its utilization rating, it goes down to about 39 or 40% in some studies. So it's not the most effective protein that we can take as far as a utilization muscle building standpoint. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just, fact of the matter. But they looked at collagen and the combination of essential amino acids in the 9 essential amino acids in a specific ratio in a Canadian study, and they found the utilization rate of that collagen increased, the utilization, not the absorption, to about 84%. They also found that insulin spikes were drastically reduced from the leucine that was in that combination. So, other amino acids that are in there also help with decreasing insulin response due to leucine presence, which is super interesting that other amino acids being present can help with that. I hope that you found that as interesting as I did. I'm going to do a very brief synapse of what I just talked about up above. If you did tune in for that whole video, I appreciate it. I hope you found it interesting. And if you have questions, leave comments below, because I could talk about amino acids all day, especially essential amino acids. So I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. I just realized that I've been wearing this outfit for my last 4 Nutritional Wednesdays. So I'll try to switch it up next week, but no promises. Have a good rest of your day.